that real. This that real. This that real.
They don't wanna see you winning. They'd rather see me losing. Closing up my mouth in confusion. Contusion. Rather see me contusion.
Hey, I gotta keep going, I'm back. Yeah, but the last album was a blast. I know they thought it was the last, but them lies never last. No, them lies never.
Fit the shoes.
All honesty, we was out. What? We were in Hawaii. I think one of the main things was, since Florida, I was saying, we got to get to Seattle at some point, because I know that's where I'm going to launch the music from. You know what I'm saying? And I know that's going to be a platform where we can build from, whatever. She had gotten pregnant, and we were like, yo, on top of that, we need to go to Seattle now. Even though we've been saying it for a year. We need to go to Seattle now because we want the girls to not be in Hawaii. We want them to be trapped here. We want them to be in the mainland. So they can like go road tripping or whatever Americans do growing up. So that
it was really expensive in Hawaii. So like everything is expensive.
Yeah, that too.
Especially where we were, like the area. And it wouldn't have made much sense raising them. And there wasn't like family on the island, like more family or aunts or uncles or anything like that. So we wanted to kind of be close.
Yeah, so it was kind of a blessing. It was a blessing.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Because I'm just loving you saw something, and then now you found people there who can really support what you see as far as your vision. So I think that's really, really dope.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I think is dope is how you're on Fit the Shoe telling us we're dope. That's what's dope to me. Speaking of dope, sure. I don't know how good our levels are, but I'm ready to do the introductions in this.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. So you already know. Wow, super special moment right now. This is a family ting. The Roots must be up to something. We got a legend. I feel like a legend in the building. In my family, a legend. This is my cousin in the building, Destiny Wesley. So our guest today, and I feel like David Letterman, needs no introduction. That's kind of how I feel. Like if you're in the Midwest, you already heard the reverberations. You already heard and felt the sound waves coming. But she's a creator, right? Designer,
yeah.
CEO of her own company and business, right? Running that through activism.
Yeah.
Can I get a Colin Kaepernick
on top
amen?
Of that, yeah.
Come on now. On top of that, athlete. We're going to get into some of the juice and mentor to a lot. And to me personally, I say it all the time. But Destiny Wesley's on the show today. So thank you for coming through.
I love you, cousin. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Because it's been one. It's really been one. But you continue to, push me to do this. So I appreciate it.
No diggity. No diggity. No doubt. Yeah, that's all love for sure. And yeah, man, I mean, like we seen you, and I know when I say fashion, when I think fashion, I think about a few people. I think fashion. It's like you, Juan, Crystal. Think about Riley.
You mean within the family?
Yeah, within the family. I think about there's these family things, so then nobody they can mind their business in this part. But Riley Culture, I think Destiny, I think the Ready Generation. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's so big in our family, but I feel like you really went to the gridiron with it. Like, how did that even happen? You got to put me on game with the Ready Generation. How did that come about?
So the Ready Generation, I started last year in 2020. I was working for a nonprofit organization that supports youth, provides resources for youth to prepare for college, to be ready for college and equipped in every way possible. Mentors, independency, all of these things, financial statuses like that it does for youth. And in this program, unknown to me before the pandemic, they had already been kind of inquiring from me or sharing with me different situations that they were experiencing within their school, because nobody in the school looked like them. These were, marginalized females who continued to experience indirect hatred, and they were trying to figure out how they should respond to it, sharing with me these issues. And then when the pandemic hit and then they saw George Floyd die,
Yeah.
Yeah,
by
that had an impact
video,
on
and
a lot of
seeing how
people.
people respond to that, it was disgusting,
Yeah.
like there's no other way to put it. These girls were, seeing on their Snapchats and TikToks, people their age sharing their opinion that
Yeah.
was just that, an opinion. You don't have no knowledge of the situation. You're
Yeah.
just saying like these nasty things about what you feel like this Black man deserved.
Yeah.
And so it struck more frustration in them that they already had. And so this was the moment where they asked me how they should respond. And it was shocking to me because I already was trying to process what I was seeing too. But I like a day, I said, give me some time because I'm not going to share with you anything that I'm not sure of, because I think this is a real good question right now.
Yeah.
Everybody just out, because the thing is that like everybody just outside responding quick, like, let me go protest or let me go, sign a petition. That's just a quick response. That's not really changing the person. So I was like, just give me some time. And in my own, reflection of trying to evaluate my heart, how was I feeling? It brought me to the statement, I vow to never take my knee off hate. So you came up with that then? That's you. I came up with that. I vow to never take my knee off hate. So, that was like the first or the introduction to what I felt like other people needed because I feel like I was dealing with my heart about
kind of everything that was going on.
Yeah,
not just, of course, what everything that was going on, but also just the hearts and the heart postures of us when we go out into the streets. When you go back inside, how are you? What? So I did that. After that, it was like, okay, I feel like this needs to be something bigger than just my own private declaration. So I began to like literally write out a vision for it. Write out like what would this look like on a garment? Like who would I have to make it? Like what did I want to do with that? Right. And so I got that process started. I thought about what a name would be if I made it into a project or a brand, and I came up with the Ready Generation because even if the girls were frustrated and mad, I still saw them as leaders. I saw them past their pain, past their frustration, and quite frankly, that's where leadership begins. It's a pain, it's a frustration, right? And you just got to find the solution inside of you.
Say word. Nah, you ain't never lied. What you gonna say?
Was this the because we own our own pair of the of what you have, Yep. And like when we first wore it, I was wondering, I'm like, I wonder what her inspiration was, or like who the person is on the actual piece of clothing, like who. So I want to know, is that something that like a sketch that you came up with, or you had somebody draw that for you? And
so I had somebody draw it for me. We had multiple, like it was multiple drawings that I had. This artist, her name is Alex. Okay. I can drop her Instagram or whatever. But she went through multiple different drawings. I think for me, it was just trying to capture a child. Like I wanted to bring us back to the posture of a child. So it's no specific person, but it does look like an animated child that has their knee on the word hate, to kind of capture what was already being said. I gotta never take my knee off hate. Just like, because I mean, we saw this man's knee on someone's neck out of hate. Yeah. So should we too be putting our knees on somebody else's neck to show out how mad we are, or should we think about how we want to respond from a place of love?
Copy. Wow. See what I'm talking about?
I didn't know. I didn't know
we had to have
any
her
of
on
that.
the episode. We had to have it. Neither did I.
So when you come when you come across it, now you know.
Now we know. And I was wondering, I was curious too, especially in like the developmental process. I'm big. I'm nice and crazy with my developmental process. Like I love as much as I can how hard, like you said, the struggle and the things you go through to get to a place to say this has to happen, this has to be said. I love that process. I'm crazy about it. Yeah. And hearing that all that just reminds me, it brings me back to the fact that you're from Chicago. What is it about creatives from Chicago that make y'all feel like, I mean,
That goes so
automatically
hard.
I think
It's
Chance,
better-
I think Kanye.
That go hard,
I can't help
Josh.
it. And they always have to have a stance, a political opinion. We gotta say this. Not a lot of people, not a lot of places are from like, you know, that are like that. Like in Florida, there's not a lot of people trying to take a stance against what they find corruption to mean. It just doesn't happen. But for some reason, Chicago, I feel like y'all just, it is a, and I say y'all because I wasn't raised there. Maybe if I was, this would have been happened. But what is, you know what I'm saying? What is that? What do you think that is?
I can't even say. I mean, because honestly, I think that there are people making a stance everywhere, but Chicago has such an influence on particular situations that have to do with law or justice. Is people when people want to know about Chicago, or when people come to Illinois, they say like, "Oh, you from Chicago?" Like everybody just refer it back to Chicago. You know, everybody look at Illinois like it's Chicago because Chicago is influential. You know, like I think that's just what it is. It's an influential city when it comes to.
That just feels. It feels something like it's so special. It's dope though, because like you know, there's a lot of places like that, and Chicago is actually one of them. You know how annoying it has been for me in my process having like my whole family from Chicago, and I'm always like, yeah, well. You know, and they're always like naming places to eat and streets they grew up on. I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember that. No, I don't. So.
No, you don't.
I get the vibe. I catch the energy. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's honestly kind of crazy. It's dope. Like, I think about Chance when he had a bunch of people going to the voting polls like a couple years ago. I'm so proud of that boy. Or like Kanye, speaking of which, me and Chance working on something. We'll keep that on the LO. But Kanye, you know what I'm saying? I give him that same credit. I don't know how y'all feel about Kanye. But come on, let's be real. This guy is influential and he is strong about his opinion, and that just reminds me of Chicago.
Yeah. I mean, as you can see, it's no matter what he does that's stupid, that people think is stupid. Like he still has an influence. He can still come from one state to back to Chicago and hold the same capacity, hold the same influence, sell the same or greater amount of tickets because people want to see what he's doing. So yeah, it's an influential place. Great leaders come from here. So.
Yep. Yeah, I think so. And they come in different shapes and sizes. I'm sorry, got my babies here at the show, so when they sit with dad, they chill out, and that's what it's got to be right now.
Yeah, it's been kind of hectic over here on my side.
So in terms of fashion, though, I think the Ready Gen, and this is a great conversation for y'all to kind of collaborate on. And in terms of fashion, her mom's a fashion designer, was a fashion designer, retired from Disney for like 20-something years. And she's big into style and stuff. And y'all got that sewing, needle and thread vibe going on. Is that hard? I love style. I love fashion. I don't know about math, though. And ain't there a lot of math involved? Does it give you the same feeling to make something as it does to wear something?
And do you use more of your heart than your brain? That's a big thing that I feel like a lot of people, I've heard that they go into designing more, it's like a mental game for them. And some people just do it out of passion. And they just do whatever they feel like they need to do, regardless of the instructions or the way that people say you got to do it.
You know what? Designing is not easy, right? But a lot first for me, I think it is native ability. I have like 2 generations in my family that, you know, sewed, make clothes. So for years, it was just me seeing, I would stare at the fabric, cut it out.
Yeah.
And there was so many.
We're going to bleep this out. Don't worry about it. We're going to bleep this out. But you talking about Auntie Diane? She motivated you to do that?
Auntie Diane.
Oh, you got more?
No. My mom, too. My mom was sewing, you know, she sewed wedding dresses and made our clothes when we was little. But yeah, Auntie Diane made many clothes. So I feel like it was native ability, like as far as how I got the gift, you know. But my passion, or where I first realized I was passionate about it, now that's a different, you know, answer. But no, designing is not easy. And I probably don't even design the same way as as they do. My mom used for a long time would always try to get me to like go by a pattern. Just like when I was younger, she would always try to when she was training me how to write, she would put the pen in my right hand, but I always switched to my left. Like I'm just different. Like, I don't know. Like when I make clothes, to answer Chris' question, I do it off of heart. Like, I will try to abide by measuring tools and the patterns, but most of the time what I've realized is that I'm making my own patterns. Like, I just need to continue mastering that and owning that, because I try to like fight it. Like, this is it feels so weird being the oddball when it comes to like my process, when it comes to like, designing clothes. It just felt complicated. It felt complex when it comes to like like you said, the math part to it. But,
right. That's what comes to my mind. It's like measurements, needles, missing.
For you, it's more like a freestyle. Like it's like you're like freestyling it, kind of like just kind of going with the flow.
Well, I would say so. For a couple years, maybe a few years ago, I used to say like my mistakes are my best work. Because while I'm making something, I could like literally see it being something completely different. But my process is maturing to where I sketch it out and I'm making what I see.
Yeah.
But I'm not making what I'm not making from the pattern. I'm making what I see. So I'm going by the drawing, right? But
see, this is super outside my pay grade. I don't really know what we're talking about right now. I'll be honest. I can't draw. I can't draw well. I could get good at it. It takes a lot of patience. I got my patience in areas where I need it, but that's a lot for me. So
yeah, it is. I mean, it's definitely not easy. That's why it's going to get to a point where I'm gonna need a team, because
right.
Right now I feel like I just make like
You be in a store like, they stitching this all off. I'd have did this like this. We finna go shopping there. Say no more. We out.
That's me all the time. If you can actually catch me in a store, I'm looking at how it's made. I'm looking at the material that they use. I'm touching the clothes on people's body that's right next to me. Like, who made this? What is this? I love this. But my wardrobe is mostly like a secondhand store, or I just started getting a couple items off of like Shein. But when I go out, like when I step out, it's me. Like, I'm making it for me.
You know what? Speaking of which, that's a perfect segue, because it reminds me of when I just saw this. You went to an anniversary, right? And you were, I guess it was the pastor or someone in your church's anniversary, 25th anniversary or something. And I was looking, I'm like, oh, dope. I got to G-check y'all. I'm going to see what you're wearing. I'm going to see what you got going on, see how hard you went, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, I feel it. You got like I don't remember exactly, but I know it's black, okay? And I don't know, was it a romper vibe? I don't remember. But regardless of what I was thinking, then I swiped and saw that this was your prom dress. I went, I lost it. I called my mom, like, did you see this post? Like, literally, my mom came to my house, like, did you see this post? So I was bugging out, bro. That was crazy.
I love
that was
it.
crazy.
Yeah, that was my prom dress.
I saw the energy.
That was my prom dress from 2019. And I was like, I'm very much so getting more into, ever since October, the download for what and how I want to create for women all over the world has very much so to do with detaching, sustainability, recycling the clothes that are right in our home versus like going back out to, buy something else when you can probably just use that outfit from a year ago that you no longer want to wear and just make it something else. So I reconstruct garments often. And so that is actually the name of my, custom women's wear brand, which is Detach, Sustain, Reverse, because that's like what I love to do for, garments. So that was a cool outfit. Turned it into like this black monochrome heroic look, So Yeah.
Copy that. Yeah, yeah. And I love it. That's awesome. I think actually Crystal stepped out for a second. She had some momly duties to attend to, so she'll be back with us possibly. But I actually only had a few more questions for you. I don't want to take all your time either. But I'm wondering this, because I know our family, we rooted in Christ, right? And we have our connection. We know what we're doing, where we're headed next. So here's a good question. This is a really good question, especially as a rapper. For me, it was a crazy battle to ride. You know me, right? I have a hard time. First of all, knowing where the line is was the first thing I had to understand. Knowing where the line is, knowing where I'm myself when I'm not myself. That's the first thing. Secondly, and it kind of all came together at the same time, but the second thing was determining what my message is. Because if I know that, then I almost know anytime, anywhere, anything, right? And then how to deliver that was most important, especially as a rapper, because like, man, you can get pushed in the corny category now, right? So how do you do something for the kingdom things, but keep it in a light and a truth where people know, you know what I'm saying? They know where this inspiration came from. They know who this inspiration came from, but they can't categorize you as religious. They won't write you off based on that. How do you do that?
You can't categorize me as religious because I won't step into an industry or an atmosphere and judge it. I will love and help and allow God to work through me to help the people connected to me evolve. Or when I do step into a room, you see the difference. When I open my mouth, you know the difference. And I don't have to say Jesus for you to know that. But the fact that I can, come into a room and ask God, what do you want to be said? Or if I actually, it should be opening up my mouth, what do you want to be said? And what I just recently discovered is if I actually rely on him, a question or a statement pertaining to what nobody else was thinking, or what somebody else was thinking, but it wasn't said, that was like futuristic. And they're like, whoa, wait, like, how'd you know that? Like I've been me and this company has been working on that. Me and my team have been, so it's like, like I just allow him to work through me when it comes to, how I can communicate with people. Yeah. I'm talking about like fashion leaders, I'm talking about like people who have the ability to, influence you and instruct you, that are listening or asking for more than just those, how do I get into the industry type of questions? Like they want to hear more than that. And so like, I just be relying on God to like work through me. And I try to remain authentic in my uniqueness, like, as far as the not just the gift of my identity. So like the difference is really in my question.
I got the vibe.
Difference is in what in the empowerment, or how I present myself. So even when it comes to the way that I design clothes, like I just truly believe that sometimes colors, I don't do a lot of research when it comes to trends and stuff, but when I produce something, I end up seeing high fashion doing that too. And it's like, y'all be researching that. Y'all got the team for that.
Type deal.
I can't even imagine.
You know where the energy comes from. Come on, I know, I understand. I totally understand. But that's the ether, right? That's the thing I think. I ain't even gonna step. That's a cold puddle for me right now. What I will say is I totally feel you on what you're saying. And now I got to bring it all the way back, because this is actually something. Can I take it off the radar of fashion for a second? Do you mind?
Sure.
Okay. I've been wanting to know this because I never, at the time, I was definitely absent, but not for the wrong reason. I was still pretty young. When you got athletic, when you got into track and field, right? Okay. I got to know. I want to know about that. Didn't you almost go to the Olympics? Did you go to the Olympics? I know you was in Australia, and I don't know if you was running from spiders or you was out there making it happen. So I'm interested in knowing.
I love that. So right before I graduated from high school, I did get an invitation to go to, I guess like a junior Olympics where, we were in we were able to train with Olympic coaches, but it wasn't the Olympics. Like, it wasn't the Olympics. To answer your question, I ran AAU, I ran nationally, and internationally, but
So
I did not go to like the Olympics. I believe that God answered my prayers and my dreams. Any dream that I have had up until this point, God has truly like allowed me to do it.
Yeah.
Even if it didn't look like what I thought it was. I did it. So yeah, I got that opportunity.
So you fast. You think you're pretty fast then? That's what you're saying. In other words, you think you're pretty fast?
Yeah.
So you pretty fast then, is what you telling me?
I was.
Oh, you okay? Okay, I was just making sure. You know, once you start no problems, you can't. You know, nothing you can't finish is all. I think we.
Okay, but you got to put action behind your words. You know.
Say less. Hold on. Let me go to the bathroom. Look. I'm back already. Hey, you know what? That was something I always wanted to know for real. In my mind.
I'm back on.
In my mind, you got the gold medal for achievements, for work ethic, for leadership, for mentorship, and you know, you just continue to do your thing. We're gonna hear a lot more coming soon. Mom just got back from the bathroom. I didn't know if you want to say something, but I was about to. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the fact that I was able to say my important question, which was how many pieces in your closet are yours and how many pieces are somebody else's. I think that's the most interesting thing or the most inspirational thing that I think I find about you, because like Josh mentioned, my mom, she's been a technical designer for Disney for like 20 plus years. She's been making all their costumes that you buy in the stores. And a lot has changed. She went from like sewing with her hands, and then they finally started implementing like sewing machines. And so like a lot has changed. So that's definitely one thing that I love that about you, and I love the fact that I got married into the family with someone who has that talent as well, because we got to keep that going. So
You ain't never told no lie. This is Dre. Say, I'm sorry.
I said I love that.
Yeah. It's energy. This is Dreadlock Conversation, so Jabber got to go, and so do we.
Yeah.